Thank you, pastors, faith leaders, and to your whole church community for being participants and learners of Peers Hope and Faith program. Thank you for your presence and good energy. Thank you for allowing me to introduce myself and peers. My name is Renee Ramcharitar. I'm the program coordinator too for 3 programs: Hope and Faith, Healing Arts, and Black Wellness and Resilience. Peers is a county-funded nonprofit mental health organization. We have served Alameda County residents for 25 years. We have served Contra Costa County for the last 2 years. Peers provides innovative wellness programs to support mental health, provide holistic wellness strategies, practices, and tools to reduce stigma around mental health situations in our diverse communities. We believe in empowering ourselves to normalize mental health discussions in our families and communities for balanced well-being in multiple dimensions, such as mentally, spiritually, physically, environmentally, socially, and vocationally. A little bit about my story. I was born a wild child, barefoot and free in the city of Los Angeles, and I never felt alone, lonely, or afraid. I married young. With my young husband, we set off to achieve the American dream. Some of the challenges we encountered being young and married and Black were that I learned to be controlling my fate, my environment, my destiny, my money, my outcome. I was very much a survivor. And it was a challenge meshing and collaborating as a young married couple. We had troubles communicating. We had a baby early. Our son was born when we were both 22. And physically, I had challenges. I have a spinal condition called scoliosis, and I had a major spinal surgery. So the trauma of having that surgery, experiencing physical challenges at an early age, healing, and environmentally, we moved a lot. Because housing was always a struggle. We moved a lot, and finally we did buy a home together. But when we divorced 2 years later after buying the house, that caused a lot of stress as well. The death of my grandmother, dealing with grieving, the grieving process or not grieving with it, led from our American dream to American nightmare. I ended up divorced. We ended up divorced. It led to my severe depression. I had to confront an eating disorder that I'd had for a couple of decades. I later developed anxiety from some relationships. Ongoing stress of always trying to achieve and go beyond being or feeling disabled mentally and physically. The pressure, the pain. In a nutshell, I found peers through a loving family member, my brother. I learned about the POCC, the Best Now, and although I felt disabled and that I would never work again, peers helped me develop my leadership skills, and mostly my spiritual practice is what led me to my healing, to revealing my best and truest self. Through developing my spiritual practice and becoming closer to God, and learning that lived experience should be valued, I have learned by working in the mental health field that lived experience is a gift and should be treasured. I learned how to share stories and release a lot of burden or guilt or shame around some of my stories. I've learned to normalize conversations around mental health, reduce internal stigma, help others realize how to reduce stigma in their families and in institutions and churches, in the community. I've learned to share more, uplift those who cannot lift themselves, as this movement did for me, and love more, judge less. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit about myself. On with the presentation. Mental health is health. Peers' mission is to create a diverse community of people with mental health experiences who provide culturally responsive, peer-based wellness strategies and work together to eliminate stigma and discrimination. We envision a world where people can freely choose among many mental health options that address the needs of the whole person. We see a future where people with mental health experiences are valued for their essential contributions to society. And here's a list of some of our programs. As you see, we have support empowerment groups, education, training, coaching. We have Pearls, which is a one-on-one coaching for older adults. We have community outreach programs and the Hope and Faith program. All of our programs are free. A little bit more about the programs that I coordinate. Black Wellness and Resilience is a safe place for African American people to connect. Using community discussion and wellness groups, we discuss a variety of topics, situations, and concerns, as well as potential strategies and tools relevant to holistic wellness, like mental, spiritual, physical, social, and financial well-being. Our groups meet virtually or in person and with a variety of other community organizations. Join us to learn about internal stigma and how to reduce it for better mental health outcomes. Healing arts is a delightful way to connect with others. We indulge and engage our creative sides for wellness. Using art as a wellness tool means that we engage music, visual arts, speaking, journaling. The possibilities are endless. And the Hope and Faith program is an innovative stigma reduction program for faith leaders in the Black community to bridge any perceived gaps between support in the church and mental health support. Peers partners with churches in Alameda and Contra Costa counties for this year-long program that provides mental health education, support, and planning to co-facilitate mental health wellness groups in faith communities. If you would like more information on our programs, please visit our website at peersnet.org, peersnet.org, and you may also email me and contact me. This is our 5th year of the Hope and Faith program, and here are some of the churches we've worked with during the 5 years. Ebenezer Baptist Church, Church by the Side of the Road, Glad Tidings, Basic Ministries, Community Christian Church of California, Word Assembly, House of Restoration, Memorial Tabernacle, House of the Redeemed, the Monte Community Church, Alpha and Omega Foundation, East Bay Church of Religious Science, Tabernacle Memorial Baptist Church, Holy Trinity Ministries, and St. John Missionary Baptist Church. Welcome to the Hope and Faith program to our new churches: Greater House of Prayer, Lighthouse of the Bay, the Nation of Jesus, 40 Days and 40 Nights Community Services, First Baptist Church of Pittsburgh. We are so happy to have you aboard this year. We are here today to learn about the Hope and Faith program, which your pastor and your church leaders have agreed to participate in. This means there will be a 10-week support group following this stigma reduction event or kickoff. We are here to invite you to join our 10-week support groups that will be led by your church leaders. But before we jump into signing you up, and we know you all will sign up, let's talk about stigma and mental health. Why it's important to address stigma and why it's so harmful in the African American community. So mental health stigma looks like, now as I read some of these, think if you've ever heard these things, you've ever said these things, or anything similar that could be harmful to yourself and others. You shouldn't have kids, you just pass on your issues. So selfish. All women are a bit bipolar. Mental illness is just an excuse to live off benefits and not contribute to society. Everyone has anxiety. Some people are just stronger than you are. Therapy and medications are just scams. You don't need all that. What do you mean you can't get out of bed? It's not like your legs aren't working. Kids and teens can't have mental illness. What if they got to worry about in life? And some other ones I've heard in the church is like, well, that ain't nothing but the devil. You could just pray that out, or you're not praying hard enough. A stigma is not helpful. and it's not the most helpful way to lift someone who may be struggling with life. We are human. We all struggle with life sometimes. Mental health is not something exclusive to race, age, or gender. Mental health is not only for people who are diagnosed. Mental health is not being positive and happy all the time. Mental health is not the inability to feel. Mental health is not having no problems and no stress. Mental health is health, right? If you knew someone that you love had an injury or broke an arm or was diabetic, you would encourage them to get help. You would nurture them, help them eat better and feel better and heal. And so the same should be true when we learn that someone we know, even ourselves, we are struggling or they are struggling with a mental health challenge. Mental health is health. Sometimes it's very balanced and we can live in life and be productive, and sometimes it wavers and we can become imbalanced or even feel weak. And it's okay. We're human. Those are human conditions. And the good news is there are tools and strategies to help us through that. And the best tool and strategy is to normalize discussions, to retrain our brains to know that mental health is something that we can work on, we can improve, we can strengthen. Mental health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes their own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, and can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to their community. This is a definition offered by the World Health Organization. So a little bit more about stigma. Stigma is a type of discrimination. It is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. Sometimes we stigmatize, or we have heard others being stigmatized because of their race or color, because they've served time in jail, have been incarcerated, or are struggling with mental health. Mental health stigma is stigma when someone sees you in a negative way because of your mental health experience. Discrimination is when someone treats you in a negative way because of your mental health experience. Social stigma and discrimination can make mental health problems worse and stop a person from getting the help they need. And there are different types of stigma: structural, community, external, internal. Structural stigma can be laws, healthcare policies, treatment practices, and mental health funding that have been created by people who don't necessarily have the same experiences. They don't empathize or can't relate. We need people with these experiences to create the laws and policies. And you've heard that expression or that motto, nothing about us without us. Community stigma is the stigmatization of people. It runs in the family and is connected to the person. Sometimes families will scapegoat or point to one family member and blame them for all the problems or for their mental health challenge. Or certain cultures will blame another culture, stereotyping. External stigma: stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination from the public to individuals. We see it in the news media. We hear people talking about it, and this is another one seen in the policies and laws in the injuring and killing of African American people. Internalized stigma is when the individual takes the publicly acknowledged, assumed beliefs of stereotypes and applies it to him or herself, believing that what people say about you is true, or being embarrassed or ashamed because you feel like you're not as good, not as worthy. So here's some mental health stats for you. Children in foster care and in the child welfare system are more likely to develop a mental health challenge. Well, what about this? African American children comprise 45% of the public foster care population. That's a lot of children who may and probably do experience mental health challenges. Prison inmates are at a higher risk of developing a mental health challenge. Well, guess what? 60% of prisoners or inmates in the United States are Black African American. People experiencing homelessness are at a greater risk of developing a mental health challenge. Well, guess what? Blacks and African Americans comprise 60% of the homeless or unhoused population. That's a lot of folks we're talking about. If we're talking about children in foster care, the people who are institutionalized or incarcerated, and those who are unhoused, that's a lot of Black folks struggling in the community. African American men are more likely to receive a misdiagnosis of schizophrenia when expressing symptoms related to mood disorder or PTSD. So there's a lack of empathy in our system, and it has been very harmful. From the Alameda County African American Utilization Report, it states that across the United States, adult African American consumers with serious emotional or mental health conditions are often wrongly diagnosed and end up being treated in the criminal justice system. There are a lot of people who are hurting physically, emotionally, mentally, and they're serving time in jail or in prison. From the African American Utilization Report, it states African American adults are less likely to receive mental health assessments, and once assessed, are often misdiagnosed and labeled with mental health conditions that are much more severe than indicated. African Americans are also often overlooked for early mental health challenges, such as depression, anxiety, and contributing factors such as environmental stress and historical trauma are rarely acknowledged. Instead of saying, what's wrong with you, let's start asking folks what happened to you. Some of the mental health diagnoses that we've heard, or you may have heard: suicidality, substance use, major depression or anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADD, ADHD. Mental health disparities. This prevents African American Black folks from receiving proper care, empathetic care, care that is useful and affords the ability for individuals to heal and not just survive on prescription medications or being misdiagnosed, right? Some of the disparities: racism, trauma, unhealthy living environments, post-traumatic slave syndrome, according to Dr. Joyce DeGruy, cultural identity, disconnection from African roots, and barriers to nutrition and higher education and financial success. How do we heal? Y'all, how do we heal? With the implementation of various programs and innovations, African Americans' patronization rates for mental health services may be improved. Programs in African American communities sponsored by respected institutions such as churches and local community groups can increase awareness of mental health challenges and resources and decrease the related stigma. Encouragement in the community to join mental health related professions can increase the number of African American mental health providers and increase social sensitivity among the provider community. Overall, sensitivity to African American cultural differences, such as differences in medication, metabolization rates, unique views of mental health, and propensity towards experiencing certain mental illnesses, can improve African Americans' treatment experiences and increase utilization of mental health care services. So what is needed in the African American community to address mental health concerns? So from 16 to 24, this is what has been identified in the African American Utilization Report. Spirituality. It has a historical importance to Black communities and social. It is a social thing. Doctors need to be aware of Black people's humanity, what's helpful. We need someone to talk to. That's what this transitional age youth, 16 to 24, say. Healthy coping mechanisms, good rest, more opportunities on the school site. Millennials and adults, spirituality is needed. Transparency and honesty with and from providers, meetups, hangouts to support mental health, access to resources that are specific to this age group, resources for new families. So the millennials and adults, this is usually 18 to like 60-ish. And then older and elder adults have said what they need to address their mental health: church involvement, community building, competent psychologists and therapists, a safe place to share stories, truths can be heard, more grocery stores, creating community, supporting one another internally, feeding the kids, neighborhood, security, the village, bring the village back, and tools that help us to not only live but thrive. This is what African Americans say they need. And if you notice, across the ages, spirituality, faith is key, is number one. Spirituality matters. Spirituality is meaning and purpose in the things we value, being in the present moment, the search for inner freedom, well-being, and peace of mind. Spirituality is loving relationships with self, others, and something beyond, giving a sense of belonging. Spirituality is an experience of living, flourishing, and finding hope amidst pain or difficulties. Spirituality matters because a person has many facets, dimensions: mind, body, spirit, environmental, social, vocational, financial, emotional, cultural. Spirituality can provide a sense of purpose and meaning, connecting people to a force greater than themselves and with humankind as a whole. Spirituality is used by many to alleviate stress and expand peace and purpose. One spiritual practice improves life satisfaction and well-being. Building inner strength through prayer and meditation promote healing, hope, positivity, and comfort, which in turn improve mental health states, lessening depression, anxiety, fear, and doubt. Some spiritual practices, so here are some, and you might jot down some that you do that may not be on this list. Prayer, breathing exercises like yoga, meditation, nature, walking, grounding, watching nature, sitting in nature, attending various services like church and other church events like social outings, conferences, barbecues, holiday special occasions, and events. Expressing gratitude, thanks, and praise, and journaling. Journaling happens to be one of my favorite, and I have journaling workshops through my Healing Arts program throughout the year. So SAMHSA has great literature on the 8 dimensions of wellness: emotional, financial, social, spiritual, occupational, physical, intellectual, environmental. If any of you are interested in I think it's like a 23-page document. It might be 41 pages, and it helps folks identify where they are in these 8 dimensions of wellness. You can write down in there and create a plan to improve. Let me know. I can provide that for you. Also on YouTube, SAMHSA offers videos on the 8 dimensions of wellness, and I will provide your church with the links to show you these videos after this presentation. And how do you eradicate stigma? Claim self-responsibility, be accountable for your part, and involve your family, your society, and other connections. There is a great destiny beyond the diagnosis. So one does not have to be diagnosed with a mental health challenge for there to be imbalances. You are not what happened to you or who you are perceived to be by others. You are uniquely made. You are divine by design. Our lived experiences do not define us. They give us the blueprint for how to walk through life. When we know who we are and whose we are, we walk in that knowing. We take care of our minds, bodies, and spirits. We tap into spaces and places that align with our wellness values. So this diagram shows you in the middle, and even though there's you, also there's unity and community with our friends outside of us, our hobbies, interest groups, community, work, neighbors, family. We all work together to create ourselves, our lives, our joy. Awareness and education around mental health. What is mental health? What is a diagnosis? Learning about how substances impact one's mental health. How do people get mental health diagnosis? If 1 in 5 people will experience a mental health challenge in their lifetime. Understand options to mental health care. In conclusions, please make your spiritual activities an intentional practice. When you are a member of a church, explore all of the membership services. Prioritize wellness and mental health needs. What does your financial, emotional, physical, occupational, environmental, social, and intellectual life look like? And where do you need support? Peers is here to support you through this 10-week support group housed in your congregation in your church home. Please be a part of this education, this community building experience. Mental health support in the Black community is not mainstream. It's not something that's just normal and people do it easily, but we are getting better. We need culture intertwined with our services, and the more that we do that, the more folks will be involved. Remember, we can pray about it and go see a counselor. We are reflections of the Most High, and He gives us unconditional love. We can treat ourselves with unconditional love and high regard by taking care of our wellness and mental health as needed. And here are some YouTube videos around mental health. Your church leader can play these for you. And here's another one, mental health in the Black community. And so this concludes our introduction to our Hope and Faith Stigma Reduction Mental Health Awareness Workshop. Your church leader will provide you with the registration information to sign up and join the 10-week support group. Do it. Learn something, connect with someone. Yeah, you might want to learn for yourself, for a family member, to support the church more. I will really appreciate it. And also, please take a moment to complete this evaluation. Peers is county funded, as I said, and the more we know how we're supporting you, how we're doing, and what we can do to improve, the better we can provide us improved services for you, and we can continue offering our free services. So using this QR code here, pull out your phone, make sure it's in picture mode, go ahead and scan this QR code and take the survey. If you're unable to scan the QR code, type the link in your phone or do it at home. Is https://bit.ly/4S8 capital Y, capital CWE. I would really appreciate it. And my name is Renee Ramcharitar. My email is rramcharitar@peersnet.org. And you can reach me. My personal cell phone is 510-302-9357. And visit our website at peersnet.org. I love you. Thank you for being here.